There are depths in the labyrinth that were never meant to be walked by human feet, places where even the darkness seems afraid to settle, where the air grows thin and the soul begins to understand that down here you are a guest in someone else's world. The section of the Glowroot Mine was crafted to feel like the moment the earth closes its jaws around you. It begins with a wall, a crude barrier of wood or stone, a makeshift door barely holding together. I always loved that image. Not a grand entrance, not a carved gate. Something hastily thrown up by people who desperately wanted to keep something out, or perhaps lock something in. Crossing that threshold, you're swallowed by firelight, a roaring blaze that blinds more than illuminates. Shadows dance like creatures trying to escape the heat, and the cavern feels both alive and utterly empty. That emptiness was important to me. I wanted your footsteps to echo in a way that makes the cavern feel endless, like the mine is breathing in your presence, letting the sound of your existence bounce around before swallowing it whole. Every space in this section is built to reflect the collapse of hope. Crates stacked in dead ends, supplies abandoned by those who fled, tables overturned, left behind with whatever stories they once held. It's all meant to show lives interrupted. A community that tried to thrive in the dark until the dark decided it was time to reclaim what was its own. And then the bodies began appearing. The stone slab, the shrouded form, shadows drawn out over a silent figure like a curtain closing on a play no one finished watching. In this part of the mine, death is not shocking. Death is expected. It's the silence surrounding it that feels wrong, like the mine is holding its breath, waiting to see how you react. The murmured voices, the metal scraping stone, the air thick with decay. I carved all of that from the idea of miners who never left, people whose last moments linger in the dust, whose whispers refuse to die, whose fears echo forever in the tunnels they carved. Then comes the chasm, the endless hole in the earth that devours light. I wanted it to feel like a reminder that the world has depths and the labyrinth refuses to name. The kind of void that makes the player understand deep down that the mine is not simply a location, it's a wound of some kind. Past the torches and blood-stained floors, past the crude old beds and the old sanctuaries built out of desperation, you encounter the first cloaked figure in this part, the emissary of the dead. Not a monster, not a messenger, but a guide of some sort. But if you're willing to accept truths that were never meant for the living, th- you'll find this place to be extremely wonderful. The coffins are scattered like discarded memories. They serve to show how countless others tried to find rest here and failed. This mine is a cemetery, but not a peaceful one. From the wooden gates to the chambers lined with hay, each room adds to the sense that something has been preparing for something. A ritual, a cleansing, a deep reckoning, perhaps. You're not meant to know. You're just meant to feel the tension, the pressure of a story left unfinished. Then comes the blood-soaked tables, the rusted chains, the rooms that smell of rot and hard labor. I wanted this place to feel like the mind showing its true colors, a place where survival overshadowed morality, where necessity twisted into horror, and then the collusion, the second cloaked figure recoiling from you in shock. It's the moment that living and the dead cross paths. For the first time in a long time, they see each other, and both seem equally startled by this encounter. What follows? The towering pillars, the ethereal music, the walls carved with frantic writings, is meant to feel like slipping onto someone else's memory, someone else's broken, under the weight of ancient knowledge, or endless darkness, or both. When the statue appears so lifelike and almost expected to breathe, that's the moment when the mind shifts from physical danger to spiritual threat. This place doesn't just harm your body, it drains your soul. But ascended to the spider's den, the sight of the creature, waiting with unblinking hunger, the abrupt dead ends, all of it was in the mind to torture you, to test your resolve. And then you will discover the hanging platform. To me, this is part of the entire sequence, being carried into the void, surrounded by bats, freaking through the caverns. The platform swaying violently into nothingness. This is the moment the labyrinth asks, are you prepared to face the total absence of safety? Every jolt, every near plunge, every beat of your heart against your ribs is part of the experience. And when you finally land, when your legs nearly give up beneath you, the mind does give you comfort. It gives you ghosts, figures drifting through the gloom, a family sharing bread who cannot see you, shadows whispering secrets you should never hear. This is a place, a hidden society showing you the memory lives longer than the flesh, that the past clings to places long after time has abandoned them. And then at last, a face, not monstrous, not hungry, but warm. A wizard with a smile like a candle in a storm, eyes sparkling with mischief, as if to say, you made it this far. Let's see how much further you can go. This entire stretch of the Glowroot Mine is about exhaustion, fear, and the quiet persistence of hope. The kind of hope that survives even in the darkest of places. Because the deeper you go, the more the mind stops testing your strength and begins testing your spirit.